everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining us again for our Wednesday devotionals. And I'm just blessed by doing these, and I want to thank you if you're watching us on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Facebook, like and share. And if you're listening to us through our podcast, you are awesome. And we're going to jump right into this. I'm going to continue kind of talking about what we talked about last week and just adding on to this when it comes to, our relationship with God and how we can express love to God, Because did you know that God has love languages? That there's ways that God receives love from us? That's the thing. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, what is love languages? What do you mean? And I'm going to get into that and kind of explain the basis of what love languages are. Because it's something that's very, very important to understand, and it is super beneficial with every relationship, especially if you're dating or married. Like, just understanding the principles of love languages has the possibility to completely change a marriage. It's crazy because we don't realize that people receive and give love in different ways. And it's important to understand, well, what ways does this person, your spouse or the person you're dating or even friends, what ways do they receive love? What ways do they give love? And understand how to how to engage with that with different people, They call it love languages because you can have somebody who speaks Spanish and somebody who speaks English, and they try to communicate, and there's no understanding coming across. It's the same way with love languages. Some people may receive love in a different way than what you're giving, and because they receive it differently, then nothing's getting through. They don't understand that you love them, even if you're trying your hardest to show it. And I want to get into some practicality when it comes to the love languages, to lay a basis to understand that, why they're important, but also so we can understand what it means when I say that God has love languages too. So, some of the important things, the main basic love languages, there's five love languages for that people can receive or express love. Now, not everybody has the same language. So some of them might be acts of service, giving gifts, words of affirmation, quality time, or physical touch. So those are the main 5 love languages. Well, what does that mean? So I'm going to go through and kind of give a quick explanation of each love language. So you have the first one, which is acts of service. Now, this one is one of my love languages. And what it is it's serving or doing things for other people. It's when you go out of the way to help them. If you're in a married relationship, this would be like, cleaning the dishes for your spouse, or going to the store and getting them something so they can stay home, or, going out of your way to do some kind of act for them, and it's important if you're giving love out of acts of service that you do it with the right heart motivation. So that means, if you sit and grumble and complain and gripe about it, it removes that love that they could receive from it. For example, if someone asks you, hey, can you help me and take out the trash? And you're like, oh, I do it, I don't want to do it. And you do it like stomping out the door, like, you're always asking me to do stuff, then that could really hurt somebody who receives love by acts of service. Versus if you just say, oh yeah, I'll do this, this is great, I'll take out the trash for you, and this isn't to like attack anybody who may have done this in the past or whatever. It's more so to bring understanding. So if you have somebody in your life that received love through acts of service, that you can do it in a manner that will benefit them, that they'll be able to see that you love them, that they'll be able to receive that from you. And you have some people who it doesn't mean anything to. Like, you can go out and do something for them and they're like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's nice, I guess, whatever, and it means absolutely nothing. So that's also being understanding who you are and understanding the individual that you're in relationship with. The next one is gift giving. Or receiving gifts. This is another way that people can give or receive love, and it's just as simple as that, giving them gifts. Big gifts, small gifts. It doesn't have to be all the time. It doesn't always have to be something super big and super extravagant, just something that says, hey, look, I want to give this to you because I love you. And, them receiving those gifts fills their love tank. It makes them feel loved. It makes them feel appreciated. And that's why sometimes people will give gifts as a way to show love. Like, they'll go out and give things to you, or they want to give you things they know you like and stuff like that. That's all part of gift giving. The next one is words of affirmation. This one is hearing positive feedback or giving and receiving lots of compliments. That's like going to your spouse and saying, hey, you're looking good today, or I'm so thankful to have you in my life, or, I just love you so much and I just want to tell you a few things about you that make me love you. All of those, that's called words of affirmation. So that's encouraging somebody. Something you don't want to do with people who have that as their love language is complain all the time. If that's all you do when you're around them, you just complain about, well, this isn't right, or you don't do this right, or, I wish you would change this, or, you degrade them. You're like, well, I can't believe you behave this way, or you're just so annoying, or yada, yada, yada. If you do any of that kind of stuff around somebody whose love language is words of affirmation, then it really hurts them. And it makes them not feel loved. It makes them not feel appreciated. So, you want to be able to build them up, encourage them, tell them how wonderful they are, tell them how much you appreciate the things they do for you. Tell them just all of that. That's all words of affirmation. Another one is quality time. Well, what's quality time? That's doing things together. Any kind of activity, just doing it together, whether it's going out to eat, walking in the park, sitting and watching movies together. It doesn't matter whatever the activity is, it's just doing something together. And it's always one-on-one. So quality time is always one-on-one activities. It's not when you're in a big crowded group and there's a lot of people or anything like that. It's one-on-one interaction or one-on-one discussions. Things you don't want to do to somebody who receives love through quality time is like when you're having that one-on-one time to, be reading something else, or, being distracted with your phone, or, having work calls, or focus on all these other things rather than just sitting down and listening and having that intimate time together. So that's something to keep in mind if you're dealing with somebody who receives love by quality time, is making sure you have that time, that one-on-one time with them without any distractions, just to talk, just to do activities, whatever it is. The next and last one is physical touch. Well, what's that? Physical touch is basically hugging somebody, shaking hands, kissing. All of that is examples of physical touch. And some individuals receive and give love this way. That's why you have some individuals who love giving everybody hugs, because that's how they show love, versus other individuals who's like, I can't handle it. Like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't like being touchy-feely or whatever, because that's not one of their love languages. So in relationships, it's important to learn our love language, like how do we give and how do we receive love. And it's also important to understand the other individual's relationship, love languages, especially if you're in a marriage relationship with anybody, because it'll really help you. And there's quizzes online you can take that can help you identify your own love language. Like if you're not really sure, you can go online and take quizzes to pinpoint it. There's also this great book I want to encourage you guys to read called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. It's an awesome book that really goes into more explanation on what the love languages are and how you can use them in your life. And I wanted to lay this today as a foundation so you can kind of understand what love languages are. And then the next time we get together, I want to start hitting on, well, what's God's love languages? Like, how does God receive love? How does God, receive love from us? Because we have limited time and I don't have time to go into the full thing. So, today I just want you guys to think about that. Okay, well, what are your love languages? What are your partner's love languages? How can you better express, love to them? And, especially in relationships, if you're having a lot of issues and you hear your partner say like, well, you just never help out with anything around the house, or you don't ever do this for me, or, you don't never tell me how much you love me, or you don't do, this kind of stuff. That's them basically saying, I'm not receiving that love from you, because that's how they receive love. That's their love language. So you as the other individuals have to learn. And sometimes it's tricky, because me and my husband have different love languages. And when we first started dating, we had to learn how to do things that were uncomfortable or odd for us. Because I'm not really a words of affirmation person. I'm more like actions. I'm like, well, words mean nothing to me. Like, I don't care what you say. You've got to prove it. You've got to show it, But that's not true for Caleb. Words of affirmation is a really, really big thing for him. So I had to learn how to make sure I communicated to him, not by just serving him and doing things for him, which was my love language, acts of service, but to him it's nothing, by telling him and verbalizing it and letting him know. And some things take time to work on. Like if you've got to write down, like a few ideas that you can do to help show your spouse you love them or whatever, then I encourage you to do so. And I encourage you to get this book, especially if you're finding a lot of conflict in your relationship, or they tell you like, I just don't feel like you love me. That's a big hint that you're missing each other's love languages. And to go in and like really assess, like, what are your love languages? How can you grow? How can you show your spouse or, the person you're dating that you love them? And all of that kind of stuff. And I would encourage you, if you're not sure what your love language is, go online, find a test for, what's my love language, and get a copy of the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And I'm telling you, it will enlighten you, and it will change your communication with your spouse, how you receive love, how they receive love, and it'll make a lot of things a whole lot better and a whole lot easier. So I hope this helped you guys today. I hope this blessed you, and I would just want to encourage you to come back and join us next week. God bless.